Hi guys, thanks for joining me. This is the tutorial for our little quick kit called the Felted Fortune, and it's a really fun little felted kit that lets you make some little personalised felted fortune cookies, and they're great fun to sort of give to friends with some handmade or handwritten sentiments and fortunes in them. So we brought it out because we thought it would be a really nice sort of little fun idea at this time of year to send them as gifts to sort of family and friends. The Felted Fortune is a quick kit, so everything that you need to make about 10 of these little felted fortune cookies are contained in the kit, and you get the template as well. Tools and materials that I'm going to be using for this project, I of course have my foam mat with my flat mat and my felt topper. I will be using my pocket scale for weighing out my wool. I've got some multi-handle needle and my multi-handle punch, and my needles, my 40 spiral, my 38 spiral and my 36 star. Please do pop a little thumbs up on the video, and if you're not already, do subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell icon, and that will tell you when we upload new videos. So that's basically all of the tools, equipment and everything that you need for making this project. It's super quick and super fun, so let's hop straight in and start making our little felted fortune cookies. So here's a quick little overview of what you get in the kit. You of course get your Felted Fortune cookie template, and there are lots of strips of paper. You get your 3 colours of wool, so the sand is the base colour, and then we've got warm brown, ginger and mustard, and those are sort of the baked cookie shading colours. So that's everything that's contained within the kit. So I'm going to grab my pocket scale and we can start making our little cookie. So I've gone ahead and weighed out 0.5 grams of the sand colour, and you're going to want to make 2 of these. So 0.5 is the base which we're going to use for the cookie, and then we'll add some additional wool for sort of tones and shades. And the way that I do this one is I'm just going to roughly pull that in half and then pull that in half again, and I'm going to start at one of the peaks. I'm just going to fold back that edge, so you see how all of these fibres are just sort of randomly stuck out. So if you fold back like that, you get this sort of neater rolled edge, and then that goes into the template like that. So the rolled edge actually follows the sort of curve of the template. So I'm going to pop that up in there. I'm using my lightest needle and just getting a tiny little bit of tack to my surface just to help hold that little bit of fluff in place. And then this other bit, I'm going to fold it again and put it in that bottom point right there. Then with this bit, I'm going to pull this in half, and I'm going to lay this so that this bit of frizz overlaps this part and this bit of frizz overlaps that part, and we've got a little bit of overhang outside of the template. And then I'm just going to run my needle around that inside edge, allow that frizz to overlap, and just very lightly tack it in place. I'm not trying to felt it at the moment, I'm just trying to get this overlap for these fibres. So there. Now it's a little bit thin here, so we've got a little bit of our wool left. I'm going to pull that in half again, put some more down just there, and again allow that frizz to overlap. Sometimes the instinct can be just to stuff all of the wool in the middle and then try to move it out to the edges, and with most of the templates you actually want to do that in reverse, so you start around the edges and at your points and work back towards the middle. And what we're looking for is just a nice even covering over our whole template. I've got this little bit, so I'm just going to pop that just in there. And that's our 0.5 grams of sand nicely in the template. So very lightly with the needle, just going all over, joining those fibres together and getting our first a first pass, a loose felt, getting all those fibres inside the template. There we go. And once you've got sort of a little loose felt, just tickle it off your mat and you'll see that I've got just a few fibres tacking it to the surface. You don't want any more than that, so we're not, you know, driving into our mats, we're just hitting that mat and stopping. Pop it back into the template, and then I'm going to go up a size in the needle to my 38 spiral, and just lightly round the edges. And again, all I'm using is the first barb or two that's on the needle. Just want to get that nicely holding together, nicely felted. This is the 36 star. I don't generally use this one. It's a very aggressive needle. It's very, very fast felting. And if you're a beginner to needle felting, I actually do recommend that you stick with the higher number needles, the finer gauges, because it gives you a chance to work with the wool. But I'm doing this for speed as well, so I am going to go over it with my 36 star. And again, I'm just using the first barb on that needle. With our wool being short fibre, it does felt incredibly quickly. There. Just going to take it off, tickle it off the mat again, pop it back into the template. I'm going to come in with my multi-needle now, and you'll find that the more that this firms up, the less it will stick to your surface as well. The flat mat, because it's so dense, you can feel when you touch that flat mat. If you want to drive, you've actually got to put some effort into it. So it really does help you sort of just stick to using the first sort of tips of your needles. So I'm going all over. I'm not felting the edges too firmly at the moment. Most of my concentration is sort of in the middle area. I'm leaving about the 5mm all around the edge to be a little bit loose at the moment. There we go. Tickle it off the mat again. And you'll see that this is the side that I've been working on, and this is the side that's been facing the flat mat. And I always find that the flat mat, the side that faces it, comes out a lot smoother and a lot nicer, because obviously this side has all your needle marks. So I tend to keep the same side facing the flat mat as much as possible, and that's going to be the side that is going to face you in the finished project. As we're doing this cookie, you want to do obviously 2 halves, so you're going to weigh out exactly the same again and do the second half pretty much the same as we're doing this half. That's about as felted as I want it at the moment, so you can see it's still a bit spongy and it's still a bit fluffy. In fact, actually I may just firm it up a tad more, just a little bit. There, I think that'll do it. So now what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the side that is the outside of the cookie. So this is where I'm going to add my shading on this one. But I'm going to go quickly off camera and make another one of these. I just wanted to quickly pop back in before I start the second one. And if, like me, you're using the flat mat, as I said, the side that faces the flat mat comes out a little bit nicer. These points on the template are not identical. They're very similar, but there is a small difference, and you may want to make one of your halves facing that way and one of your halves facing that way, and that will mean that you get the nice surface face on opposite, so that when you put them together you've got the nicer side facing you on both sides. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head. But then many things do. However, how I explain them doesn't necessarily work. But I hope that made sense. So make one pointing that way and one pointing that way, and then when you put them together you'll have the nice sides facing you. So I'm just going to go and make my second one. So here's one half of my cookie. The base layer is complete, and it is still quite fluffy, but it's starting to firm up nicely. And what we're going to do now is add that sort of baked cookie colouring to it. And for that I'm going to take it out of the template to begin with, and remember how we talked about the sides and which one faces you. Put the side that you're having on the outside of your cookie face up. Grab your 3 baked cookie colours, and what I do is I tend to just pull off a pinch of these two, which I think is ginger and mustard, and then a tiny little bit of the dark, which is our warm brown. And then what I'm going to do is hand blend it, and to hand blend you stack your fibres, you pull them apart and then you stack them on top of each other. Pull them apart and stack them, turn them through 90 degrees, pull and stack. And what that does is it gives you a nice sort of little bit of a blended colour, but it's quite rough. And then I'm going to pull off, and you can be really fussy about which bits you want to pull off as well. So I'm going to spread this out really thinly, like that, and just lay a little bit down over the cookie, and then pull off most of this excess, like that. Then what I'm going to do, with my lightest needle, just jump about, just to sort of tack a few of those fibres in place, but not too much. Grab your template, but don't put it back in the template like this. Turn your template over, turn your project over, and push your sort of felted cookie back into the template that way. And you can see that all of the excess that was around the edge has sort of come up inside the template, which means that you can just bring that over and very lightly felt that down, and it's sort of rolled over the edge there. And this is the inside of the cookie, so we're not too worried about that. Oops. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep this shaded side face down, and we're actually going to felt through to it. So first barbs on the needle again, and what this is going to do is this is going to take our base colour and sort of diffuse it through the shaded colour that we've put on the other side. Like so. I'm just going to tickle it off my mat again, and you can see that because we've felted from the back through, we don't have any sort of real blocks of colour. So pop it back in. I'm going to go over it from the back once more. There. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing over and felt from the other side. And felting it this way, you will get a few needle marks in it, and I actually find that that adds to the sort of aesthetic of the cookie. There. That's our, you can see how that's coming out now. So we've got that diffused sort of shaded colour. Here's the one that I did a little bit earlier. So I'm going to carry on and firm this up, and at this point you can go, well, I want a bit more shading, so grab your little rough hand blended bit of colour. You can add a little bit more colour on sort of down there, and repeat the process. Put it, you know, face down in the template, but I'm going to leave it like that for now. What we're going to do now is decide where in your cookie you want your little opening, and I tend to find that just on this side, let me get my template, and you want to put your sort of gap about there, so that when you insert your paper you've got a good sort of line straight down here to sort of fit the paper in. If you put it over there, you can sort of snag on this sort of corner. It is obviously entirely up to you where you want to put it, but this sort of area here is where I put mine. Let's move that out of the way. So to join the cookies together, or the cookie halves together, obviously you've got your right sides and your wrong sides. So we're going to put wrong sides together, so our shading's on the outside. Put the whole thing back into the template and just sort of line it up, check both sides. Yep, that's fine. If you have a particularly fluffy edge, then you may want to sort of firm up the sort of 10mm or 1 centimetre section that you're going to have your little gap in. But I think we're okay with this. So I'm going to stuff that back in. You'll see it fits nicely into the template. Then I'm going to go straight in with my 38 spiral right around that edge, and I am using that driving technique. So I'm going right through my project and right into my surface. Now, do remember that doing that, you're going to end up with fluffy coming out the other side, which can stick to the mat. So we're going to do this in bits. I'm going to go round this bit and then wiggle it off the mat, and round this bit and wiggle it off the mat. And that's what we're going to do all the way round. And then we'll turn it over. So I'm going to leave my gap about here. So I'm going to start from here and then go back to meet the bit I just felted, which will make sure that I leave that gap, because I have gone all the way round a few times. Just sat merrily felting away. Oh, there's no hole in the cookie for the paper. So now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to felt back the other way, which I'm about to do the thing what I said not to do. Right, there's the gap. Make sure you work out where your gap is, and felt back the other way. And doing this both sides is going to give you a really nice join. We're not worried about being tidy at the moment. We're going to go round and sort out all of the ends and the frizzy bits in just a minute, but all we want to do right now is not felt the gap shut. Okay, so I've gone all the way around both sides. There we go. And you can see that, you know, your cookie's really starting to take shape now. But we do have sort of all of this fluff around the edges to deal with now. So I'm taking it out of the template and I'm going to go round my edges as well, not sealing up the gap. and just making sure that we've got a really good seal all the way round. I'm then going to start coming to my lighter needle, and for my lighter needle I'm using my 40 spiral, and now it's just back to that first barb, and I'm going to go all over this side, and this is really going to tidy up those edges. You can also trim. Oh, there's the gap. Once I've gone round a couple of times. Then anything that is still protruding, I will just snip off with my scissors. There we go. Let's see where we're at now. There we go. It's coming together a little bit neater. You will probably want to spend a little bit more time on that, obviously, than I have. I'm doing it full speed. So I realised I didn't have my scissors anywhere near me. So I had to go and fetch them. So apologies for the quick break we had there. So I've still got, you will have felted your halves probably a lot firmer than mine, but you can just go round and shave off any sort of little wild bits, really hairy bits. The more time you take just firming up the two halves before you join them together, it will save a lot of hairiness, but I did this for speed. This may actually be one of my shortest tutorials ever. So there we go. There's my little cookie. I'm just going to get my pen. Probably not that pen, because that pen's quite big. Maybe a pencil. Let's get a pencil. And I'm just going to pop my pencil in that little gap there. Just make sure that I've got a nice sort of bit inside, so it's not all felted together. And then it is just a case of writing whatever sentiment you want onto your piece of paper, and leave yourself a sort of a finger width at the end, and then write your sentiment. And then I sort of fold it up like this. Just roll it up, because you want this sort of bit of paper to fit in, and then just pop it into your little fortune cookie like so. And that is it. I mean, there is a really sweet little gift. You can perhaps put some of these on key rings. You can you know, have them as little bag charms. They make really sweet little personalized gifts. And it was these got launched at our when was it, our Christmas Crafternoon for this, and we decided that it would be a lovely sort of quick Christmas gift to make, but you know, for any kind of occasion. They're so versatile. We also I think it was one of the Pixies suggested that rather than putting fortunes in there, you could put dares in there, and then send them out to all of your mates and have a game of fortune dares or something over a video conference. I don't know, it sounds like good fun. So there's our little bowl of felted fortune cookies, and it's such a sweet make. It really is, and so quick too. A great sort of little last minute gift. So I'm going to see what my fortune holds for me. apparently, let's have a look, what's this say? You are going to have a very crafty day. Well, that about sums my day up. I'll take that. So from me, for now, I hope you have enjoyed the project. Please do consider giving the video a like, and if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell icon. That'll let you know when we upload new content. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, and I wish you all a very crafty day.